Every evening, a woman in Kyoto walks into her kitchen carrying the same grocery bag she has carried for years. She places fresh vegetables on the counter, rinses her hands, and begins preparing dinner. There is no rush. Nothing competes for her attention. Her eyes never search for a place to work because the workspace is already waiting for her. The counter is almost empty. The drawers open without resistance, and every movement seems effortless, as though the kitchen has quietly decided to help instead of interrupt. Thousands of miles away, a very different scene unfolds in countless American homes. The mail has been dropped beside yesterday's coupons. A coffee machine, an air fryer, a blender, and a toaster compete for space on the countertop. A dish rack still holds plates that dried this morning. Somewhere near the entrance sits an everything bowl collecting keys, receipts, batteries, loose change, and objects that never quite found a permanent home. The utensil drawer sticks. The spice cabinet hides bottles that expired years ago. Nothing looks dramatically messy, yet every meal begins with tiny moments of friction that most people have stopped noticing. That is the surprising thing about clutter. It rarely announces itself. Instead, it quietly steals a few seconds here, a small decision there, until the kitchen no longer feels like a place of calm. It becomes another room, asking your brain to work harder than it needs to. The Japanese approach is different. It is not about owning less for the sake of minimalism. It is about removing everything that interrupts peace, function, and clarity. In this video, you'll discover the 15 things Japanese kitchens quietly refuse to keep, and why letting go of them transforms not only the way a kitchen looks, but the way it feels. Stay with me until the final item, because it isn't an object at all. It is an invisible habit that explains why some kitchens instantly feel peaceful the moment you walk inside. Before we look at the first item, there is an old belief many people still carry into the kitchen. Most American homes are built around the idea that convenience means keeping everything close. If a tool might be useful, it stays. If a mug still works, it stays. If an appliance could be used someday, it stays. The kitchen slowly becomes a storage room for every possible version of life. But the first thing Japanese kitchens rarely keep is broken or damaged dishware. A chipped mug may seem harmless. A cracked plate may still hold food. But every time you see it, your brain receives a quiet signal of disorder. In Japanese thinking, especially through wabi-sabi, imperfection is respected, but that does not mean damaged things must remain forever. It means recognizing when something has completed its purpose. Tonight, open one cabinet. Remove every cup, bowl, or plate you would feel embarrassed to serve a guest. Do not organize the whole kitchen. Begin with one honest decision. But broken dishes are only the beginning. The next source of clutter is much harder to notice because it looks perfectly useful. Many American kitchens are filled with duplicates. 3 spatulas, 6 wooden spoons, 4 measuring cups, and multiple knives that perform exactly the same task. The belief is simple: having more tools makes cooking easier. Japanese kitchens follow a different principle. Every tool should have a clear purpose. When 2 objects solve the same problem, one usually leaves. This creates intentional space that allows movement without distraction. Cognitive scientists have found that every visible choice requires a small amount of mental processing. Individually, those decisions seem insignificant. Together, they slowly increase decision fatigue before cooking has even begun. Tonight, open your utensil drawer and ask one question: which tools do I actually reach for every week? Keep those, store or donate the rest. Less searching means more cooking. And surprisingly, the next item is not hidden inside a drawer at all. It is sitting in plain sight on countless kitchen counters. The countertop often tells the real story of a kitchen. In many American homes, every appliance stays plugged in just in case. The air fryer, blender stand, mixer, bread maker, coffee grinder, and slow cooker all compete for the same surface. They represent possibilities more than daily habits. Japanese thinking asks a different question. Does this object serve today's life, or only the person I hope to become someday? This idea reflects Kaizen. Small, consistent actions matter more than ambitious intentions. A machine used twice a year should not occupy the most valuable space in the room. Visual neuroscience shows that crowded environments continuously demand attention even when we believe we are ignoring them. Every object becomes another piece of information for the brain to process. Choose one appliance you rarely use. Store it in a cabinet instead of displaying it permanently. Leave only the tools that support your everyday routine. As the counter becomes clearer, another hidden source of stress begins to reveal itself, one that many people mistake for a sign of being organized. A drying rack full of dishes seems completely normal. In many American kitchens, it never disappears. Clean plates remain on display for hours, sometimes all day, waiting to be put away. The problem is not the dishes themselves. It is the constant visual reminder that another task is unfinished. Even when everything is clean, the brain still sees work waiting to be completed. Japanese kitchens value something called yohaku, the beauty of intentional, empty space. An uncluttered counter is not wasted space. It gives both the eyes and the mind a chance to rest. Research on visual clutter suggests that unfinished visual cues increase cognitive load and make environments feel more stressful than they actually are. The fewer unfinished signals your brain receives, the calmer the space feels. Try making one small change tonight. Once the dishes are dry, put them away immediately instead of leaving them on the rack until tomorrow. It takes only a minute, but it completely changes how your kitchen welcomes you. And what comes next may be even more surprising because it has been hiding behind a cabinet door for years. The fifth item is often hiding behind a cabinet door, quietly pretending it still belongs there. Many American kitchens keep expired spices and forgotten condiments for years. They remain because throwing them away feels wasteful, or because someone believes they might be useful again someday. But a spice with no scent and a sauce no one trusts are not useful. They are small decisions being postponed. Japanese kitchens are shaped by shun, the respect for freshness and seasonality. Food should belong to the present moment, not to a recipe you once imagined making 3 years ago. The science is simple. Every time your brain sees an item you are unsure about, it creates a tiny question. Is this still good? Will I use it? Should I throw it away? Those micro decisions create mental fatigue. Open one shelf tonight. Smell the spices. Check the dates. Keep what is alive in your cooking now. And after the old flavors leave, you may discover something even heavier underneath them. The sixth item is not really an item. It is a place where undecided things go to hide. In many American homes, this is the junk drawer. Batteries, rubber bands, old keys, loose screws, pens that may not work, and chargers for devices no one owns anymore. It looks harmless because it is closed most of the time. But the mind remembers what the eyes do not see. Japanese thinking follows Danshari: refuse, discard, and separate. A thing should either have a clear purpose and a clear home, or it should leave. Without a home, it becomes quiet clutter. Research on clutter shows that disorganized spaces compete for attention and increase cognitive load. Even hidden clutter can create a feeling of unfinished business because you know it is waiting for you. Tonight, open the drawer for 5 minutes. Do not organize everything. Just remove what is broken, mysterious, or no longer connected to your life. And once the drawer becomes lighter, the next source of clutter becomes impossible to ignore. The seventh item is something many people keep because they believe they are being practical. Plastic bags saved just in case fill drawers, cabinets, and spaces under the sink in countless American kitchens. One bag becomes 10. 10 becomes a stuffed container that no longer closes. It feels responsible, but often it is only delayed clutter. Japanese thinking is guided by matanai, the feeling that waste should be avoided and resources should be respected. But matanai does not mean keeping everything forever. True respect means using things fully, then not allowing them to multiply beyond their purpose. Psychologically, just in case clutter creates ambient guilt. Every time you see the pile, your mind remembers an intention that was never completed. Choose a limit. Keep only the number of bags you realistically use in 1 week. Fold them neatly into one small space. Let the rest go and replace the habit with one reusable bag by the door. But the next mistake is even more subtle because it looks like organization from the outside. The eighth item looks organized at first glance, but it quietly creates frustration every single day. Many American kitchens are filled with mismatched food containers, lids that no longer fit, plastic boxes in different shapes and sizes, stacks that collapse every time the cabinet opens. People keep adding new containers instead of creating a system. Japanese kitchens value harmony over quantity. Every object should work together with the others. When containers share the same shape and size, they stack easily, store neatly, and remove unnecessary friction from daily life. Researchers studying visual organization have found that consistent shapes are processed more efficiently by the brain. Less visual complexity means less mental effort, even during simple tasks like putting away leftovers. Choose one size of container that fits most of your needs. Recycle the pieces without matching lids and stop collecting random replacements. Once every container has a place, another surprising source of clutter begins to stand out, and it isn't food at all. The ninth item often stays in the kitchen for years without serving its original purpose. Cookbooks that are never opened slowly become decorations. They promise a future version of ourselves, the person who will someday bake every weekend or prepare elaborate meals from scratch. But most remain untouched, while recipes are searched on a phone instead. Japanese philosophy encourages living with today's reality rather than yesterday's ambitions. A kitchen should reflect the life you actually live, not the life you once imagined. Behavioral psychology calls this the ideal self effect. Objects connected to abandoned goals can quietly trigger feelings of guilt or failure each time we see them, even if we are not consciously thinking about them. Keep only the books you truly use or genuinely enjoy reading. If a cookbook has become nothing more than decoration, let someone else create memories with it. And now we arrive at something many people believe makes a kitchen more beautiful while it often creates the opposite effect. The 10th item is decorative clutter on working surfaces. Many American kitchens display candles, signs, artificial flowers, small statues, or seasonal decorations across the countertop. Each object seems harmless by itself, but together they slowly reduce the space where cooking actually happens. Japanese design begins with function. Beauty is created by simplicity, balance, and empty space, not by filling every available corner. An uncluttered counter allows both movement and calm to exist at the same time. Neuroscientists have found that crowded visual environments constantly compete for attention. Even when your focus is elsewhere, the brain continues filtering unnecessary information, increasing mental fatigue without you noticing. Look around your countertop tonight. Remove everything that does not directly support preparing food. If you love a decorative piece, display just one instead of several. Giving a single object room to breathe often makes it more beautiful than surrounding it with many others. But the next item is even more deceptive, because most people believe they are saving money by keeping it. The 11th item is the paper towel roll that never leaves the counter. Many American kitchens use paper towels for everything: drying hands, wiping spills, cleaning counters, covering food. It feels convenient, but it quietly creates a habit of using something once and throwing it away. Japanese kitchens often reflect matanai, the belief that waste should be treated with care. A small, reusable cloth, washed and used again, respects both the object and the space it occupies. From a behavioral science view, convenience shapes repetition. When disposable items are always within reach, the brain chooses them automatically without thinking. Place one clean, reusable towel beside the sink tonight. Use it for your first small wipe tomorrow. Let the paper towel roll move off the counter. And once disposable habits become visible, the next object reveals how much space one tool can quietly steal. The 12th item is the bulky knife block. In many American kitchens, it sits permanently on the counter, holding knives that are not always used, not always sharp, and not always necessary. It seems organized, but it takes away precious workspace every single day. Japanese kitchen. Thinking values direct access and clean surfaces. Tools should be easy to reach, but they should not dominate the room. A knife belongs where it supports cooking, not where it interrupts movement. Environmental psychology shows that clear work surfaces reduce friction and make people more likely to begin tasks. When the counter is crowded, even simple cooking feels heavier. Keep only the knives you truly use. Store the rest safely elsewhere, or use a wall-mounted strip if possible. Give the counter back to preparation, not storage. But the next kind of clutter does not sit on the counter. It waits quietly inside the refrigerator. The 13th item is food you are probably going to eat. Many American refrigerators hold leftovers that might still be fine sauces opened weeks ago, and containers no one wants to check. They stay because throwing food away feels wrong. But uncertainty is not the same as usefulness. Japanese thinking returns to shun, freshness, seasonality, and food that belongs to the present moment. A calm refrigerator holds what will be eaten, not what creates doubt. The brain dislikes uncertainty. Each time you open the fridge and wonder whether something is still safe, you create a small stress response and another delayed decision. Choose one shelf tonight. Remove anything you would hesitate to serve someone you love. Then plan your next meal around what remains. When the refrigerator holds certainty instead of guilt, the kitchen becomes lighter. But one more container may still be collecting decisions you never made. The 14th item is the everything bowl. In many American homes, it sits near the door or on the kitchen counter. Keys, receipts, coins, batteries, hair ties, pens, and small objects fall into it because no one knows where else they should go. It looks like a solution, but it is really postponed decision-making. Japanese homes are shaped by the idea that every object needs a proper place. This is part of danshari. If something has no purpose and no home, it should not continue floating through your space. Studies on clutter show that unresolved objects create mental noise. Even when they are contained in a bowl, the brain still recognizes them as unfinished tasks. Empty the bowl tonight. Give each item a real home or let it go. Then remove the bowl itself so the habit cannot rebuild. And now we arrive at the final item, the one that is not really an object, but the reason all the others stayed for so long. The 15th item is invisible clutter. It is not a mug, a drawer, a bowl, or an appliance. It is the quiet habit of delaying decisions. This is where many kitchens become heavy, not because the family is careless, but because dozens of small choices were postponed. Japanese thinking does not wait for clutter to become dramatic. Through danshari ma and yohaku, the question is asked earlier, does this belong here, or is it only here because no one has decided yet? Cognitive science supports this. Open loops create mental tension. Every undecided object becomes a tiny, unfinished task that the brain continues to track. So the real change is not cleaning harder, it is deciding sooner. Tonight, walk into your kitchen and choose one object. Ask whether it still belongs to the life you are actually living. If it does, give it a clear home. If it does not, let it leave. Because a peaceful kitchen is not created by perfection. It is created by one honest decision after another. When you look back at these 15 items, you may notice something surprising. This video was never really about dishes, containers, paper towels, or kitchen drawers. It was about decisions. The Japanese way of thinking reminds us that a peaceful home is not created by buying more organizers or finding better storage. It begins with danshari having the courage to let go. It grows through kaizen, improving one small habit at a time. It becomes sustainable through matanai, respecting what truly serves your life instead of keeping everything forever. It feels calm because of ma and yohaku, the intentional empty space that allows both your home and your mind to breathe. And it stays meaningful because of shun, choosing what belongs to your life today instead of holding on to yesterday. A peaceful kitchen is never built in a single afternoon. It is built one honest decision at a time. So don't challenge yourself to declutter the entire room tonight. Instead, walk into your kitchen and choose just one object. Ask yourself a simple question: does this still serve the life I'm living today? If the answer is yes, give it a proper place. If the answer is no, thank it and let it go. That single decision may seem small, but that is exactly how Kaizen begins. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which item in today's video surprised you the most? Or which one will you remove first from your own kitchen? Share your answer in the comments below. I read every comment, and your story may encourage someone else to take their first small step. If you enjoy exploring the quiet wisdom of Japanese living, subscribe to the channel and join us as we continue discovering simple habits that bring more clarity, discipline, and peace into everyday life. Until next time, take care and thank you for spending these quiet moments with me.